That was really fucking funny. When I looked up, you guys are hella balling. I was like, I'm not trying to make a joke here, guys. I'm trying to pray right now.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this isn't. I was like. Alright, so question number 1: how well prepared were the parties in terms of reading and understanding their roles? Please comment on how and whether the parties would have benefited from further study of their character roles, emotions, needs, interests, bargaining positions, facts, relationships, etc.
I don't know, I feel like this is like a fairly simple role play. Compared to like the other ones, I feel like the backstory wasn't like as complex.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was. You really had to like dig deeper into like, okay, how is someone that's like the head of a church gonna react? Like obviously they're not gonna be like violent, like that's like normally I'm like, but this time I kind of like regressed and I was like, okay, I'm a pastor.
The only thing I had to say about that is because like have you ever talked to like a large amount of people that have been to church? Because on Sunday they're religious, but on Monday they're fucking. Like the religion just goes right out the door and they cuss and everything, So I was like debating whether or not I should do that or not.
Right, but I mean, your position within the church is also different. So it's like you're the head of the church. So it's like that's like having the Pope walk out and be like,
sagging.
What the hell is this shit? Like it's different parameters, and that's like you have to like control it. And I mean, I felt like there was like one part where you were like about to be like shit, but you held it and like kind of like yeah. And I was like okay, well that was exactly.
I need you like, right now.
I mean like even the praying thing, like I feel like that's not unrealistic for people to do, and like so I felt like that was good, and I felt like it was either like. Because for Bernard it was the noise, but for you it was the children that stuck out more.
Yeah.
So I mean it wasn't like.
You kind of draw your own emphasis.
Yeah, like I feel like, and I don't know, because like one of the things you said in the mediation, you were like, as a mother, like I have woman's intuition and stuff, and so I didn't know if like that was just like a natural like inclination to focus more so on like.
That was good.
The children, like I definitely thought that was like a strong point, because that was like what you carried out like the majority of the time, because I mean, sleep does seem like a minor nuisance. It's like
like I have an infant, so it's like it's not like I can really sleep anyways. Yeah. And I probably didn't mention that I was the husband and me are both attorneys. Whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it kind of takes away from the amount of time that you're actually.
It was also interesting how you were focusing on like, it's not me. Wherein I thought my focus was more on like
I just don't want to deal with it.
I don't want to deal with it, and you can do it yourself. Like.
I mean, it didn't. I mean, that's what for me. I don't know that like I didn't mind like helping, because like all right, well, obviously they're on my land. Obviously, like that's gonna affect.
It's
like,
gonna be
church.
a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you on that.
So I was like, okay, like that's why when during your mediation, I was like. Right, but it may come back to negatively affect your congregation should it escalate, or should it be found that like there is a problem.
Touch on that later. Next question.
Okay. Please comment on 1 or 2 points in time where the students portrayed the party's interest very well. So I mean again.
Maternal instinct.
Yeah. Maternal instinct was a good one, but also safety played pretty well on when it came to the traffic and almost being hit. That was a good need.
I needed to map out a little bit more.
Yeah, I didn't know what the road looked like, so I was
so like if we had to go back, I would probably map out more what the entire area looks like, so that we can all agree and know. Because when you said like a car almost hit you, I was like, wait, isn't this a narrow road? Because I thought it was supposed to be like a narrow road or something.
It was just one road.
It
just says a road.
There's one single road.
It's a single road which winds its way approximately half a mile through a residential neighborhood. Oh, so it could pass yours. Okay.
So it's like a main road that goes.
Yeah.
I know that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So for me, I was like really confused. I didn't really talk about it. I was just more like, look, it's not my problem.
Bernard, I felt like again you played well in like the sleep aspect of it. didn't no, but I mean like
And
that's
the money,
true, it's
and that
true.
you had a lot of money
Yeah,
in the
like-
city.
like, you know, that was a good aspect of it, like it showed like a different like contrast
Yeah.
of the character.
And like different resolutions,
Yeah,
Yeah.
cause in mine it was different resolution, yours was different.
which I thought was nice, because normally they ended up being pretty similar.
Really similar.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was really similar this time.
Okay, so.
Really different.
Right, yeah, really
Yeah.
different.
Number 3, please comment on 1 or 2 points in time at which the student's portrayal of the party seemed unrealistic and did not contribute to a sense of realism within the role play. I don't know, I felt like as the pastor, like the head of the church, I felt like you might have been like a lot more inclined to be like nonchalant about like a lot of the problems, like, and kind of just seeking to help where you could. Like, if he was like, oh, you want to take me here? I'm not helping you. Like,
Yeah, I feel
No,
like you.
It was no, because like when I read this, I figured, because it says like, you know, I'm just flabbergasted basically that you know you're being really, what was the word that's in here? There's a specific word for them. It was just here too. I can't remember. Oversensitive, and so like when I saw that, I was like, so I'm dealing with people who I think is oversensitive, and if I think that, I'm like, well, I'm not really gonna like help you if you're that much of a prick about it, you know. But yeah, I get it.
I mean,
get it.
I feel like the oversensitive like discrepancy though is like that much came from like that when I was like playing the not priest but like the pastor, I guess.
Mm.
You know, that was like why I played on the whole.
Not help.
Yeah, I was,
Yeah.
you know, like, okay, well, it is, yes, like, but it was also like, okay, you have affluent people who aren't contributing to anything and are generally seen as like negative contributors to society,
Yeah.
like in like a church setting, and so I was like, okay, well, I made it like, I felt like that was more so where the oversensitive part was coming from, like.
Right, right.
And like you have resources and everything, but you're still complaining
Yeah,
about this.
that's why I kept nagging on Ed Bernard, like, what, money, like, you have all the money, but like, you know.
Yeah.
Felt like,
If there's one thing I had to comment on, is when you went third person on this. Tom Brady don't like that.
yeah, I mean,
When you kept like,
It's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady. Like,
I was like, dang, you are one conceited lawyer.
yeah, no one's that uptight. But that was funny. It made your character a little bit more unique. That's true.
Question number 4, please provide a comment to each student/party as ways to improve their overall role play for the next role play.
We should map out what everything is, so we're all like very clear.
Yeah, but I feel like keeping that ambiguity keeps it like a little bit more genuine. Like even without knowing like each other's like circumstances and like side of the story, that went for about an hour and 15 minutes. So I mean, you know, he says average mediations are 2-3 hours. It's not too far off the mark. Granted, we have to do 2 and 3 hours, so I feel like we kind of naturally condense it with that time constraint. Like, all right, well, we're kind of, you know what I mean? Like naturally, kind of just filters itself down.
Yep. Doesn't it? No. I feel like it feels the same as always. Doing fine.
that's what I thought at first too, like plan it out.
The maps.
Oh, you mean like the actual maps of the place?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I
That's-
think we dealt with that last time with the dirt track. Like,
Yeah.
it was just like,
Oh, yeah, we're like,
what the hell
conversation
track
just
is.
went
Yeah, we were
on.
like,
We're just
I thought it was
what?
my fence, it was a house, like yeah.
Or what we can do is we can try building it into a story, you know?
Yeah.
Like saying like, well, you know, we are in the middle of Texas, there's a lot of land, you're not supposed to be right next to each other, so I don't know, stuff like that.
I mean, or you could just have
Good
parties like draw their own like draw a map.
Yeah. Show me how you see it, you know, that'd be a good like role play experience.
Mhm.
Number 5, please comment on the general disposition of each mediator. It's like nervous, relaxed. non-serious.
I don't know, I feel like during both of them, the mediators were pretty like relaxed.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just the sense of the like role play that we got. Like the pastor's not gonna be like super like poisonous like anything. I feel like that was really what it was. Like in a lot of the past ones,
It
like, there
was
a lot
like you had
more,
you had a lot more like
mud
ethnic,
flinging.
yeah, you had a lot more like ethnic tension, like
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no like ethnic tension in this one.
yeah.
So that's why
Right here
it's
it's just
like
like, I hate you for not handling this.
Yeah, and I
problem.
mean, part of me
it's more
like
direct.
part of me as a mediator, I was like, all right, well, it's a pastor, like
Yeah.
he's not gonna be aggressive. You know, she might have some genuine concerns, but even he's not gonna like retaliate and rebuttal like most other people. So it kind of made like reading the situation a little bit easier.
But then again, I'm not religious, so I'm going to.
Right, you might have had more rebuttals, but it wouldn't have
But
entitled
it-
him to like
yeah.
you're being a bitch, like
Mhm.
you know, like it wouldn't.
Because
Have,
I would have, dealt with a lot of people like you in that case. That's what I would
yeah, so,
feel. Nice.
so
I'm like, oh, here we go, another one. I
Man,
got you.
like I didn't feel like I really had to like establish myself too hard at the start. Like there was that one point where I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to get a little bit louder to decrease like the tension coming from you guys, like. But it wasn't.
I felt like, or at least personally, I felt like during the first one, there were a lot of things like I felt eager to say, and then I was like, just give it time. But
Like
other than
as a mediator.
as a mediator, yeah. And then I just I said, you know what, I just let him talk. It's not that bad right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I started to bite in at some points too, and I was like,
Yeah.
alright, whatever. I'm just gonna let it.
Yeah, just like
keep
because
going.
we went up like if we ever like went like claw to claw, it would be for like 10 seconds, not that long, and then afterwards you're like, cool, you guys done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Alright, question number 6. Did the above disposition seem to help the parties and contribute to a sense of effective dialogue, or what otherwise was the impact of each mediator's disposition?
Wait, say that again?
So like how did our attitudes, how did us being laid back or relaxed help facilitate communication?
Well, you guys were like being fair. Like there wasn't. I didn't feel any like you're on his side or you're on my side more.
I know Bernard, you said something that was really good, and it just made me go, yeah. But
You
then
can't
I don't.
say anything to it.
Yeah, I can't say shit to it, and I was like, it
Oh,
makes
I
a great
remember.
point.
I think I remember too when you like got hella quiet because Bernard said something. I'm trying to remember what you said.
Whatever it was, it made a lot of sense. I was like, made so much sense that I was like, you know what?
You're right.
Good. All right, so can we move forward?
Oh, I think it was like, well, she's not worried about the sleep. She's just kind of.
Oh yeah, she's worried about the kids,
The kids.
and it would be
Like,
bad if the kids going through this experience. I was like,
You're right.
you're damn right.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, it's not like I'm gonna be like, fuck the kids, man. So.
It was fun. Like when I was party 2, it was the same thing. Like it wasn't excessive. Like I don't know. It made it easier to communicate, and it wasn't like the things you guys said like amped us up to like be more like aggressive. Like,
Yeah.
'cause sometimes a question that's asked to a party might like rile them up and be like, well, you know what? I'm glad you asked. Like. So I definitely didn't feel any of that. Did each mediator seem to push for a solution? If yes, how did that?
I didn't feel that way.
I felt
When
that
you
way.
guys were meeting,
I felt like I
didn't
couldn't
feel
do
that way.
it.
I felt that he was like, so what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Whoa, what's this?
Oh, really?
Yeah, you kept asking me.
Oh, maybe because it was like I didn't really have shit to do.
Like,
And then
after
he
the
kept saying the
second
same
loop-
thing. He kept
After,
saying
yeah, after
it's
like
not
the
my
second loop, I was like, alright,
Yeah,
like,
it's
I understand.
I was
You're
like,
not,
what am I like? How?
you don't.
You wanted to be this character, okay? I'm just like.
I mean, it was hard not to at some points. Like I found like at the beginning, I found us like almost naturally going towards a resolution, and I was like, damn, like
That's what I felt. Too.
like it was kind of like I didn't know if it was because like we had already gone through the process, so you guys already kind of saw it, or like what exactly caused it. But I was like, okay, it kind of seems to happen naturally. So now I'm gonna drag out information and bring up problems. Like
So like to talk about more, when we went through it the first time, just seeing the problem, I was like, wait, so you have no control over this second party here, third party here. and you're complaining to him. So at that point, I was like, all right, this can be just like that. You know, how this like that.
It's not my fault.
Yeah.
Talk to them. We're done.
Yeah, that's it. But and I'm like, now you just have to drag it out. So
I mean, no.
So-
Honestly, that could have been the whole mediation, but it really all came a point at when it was released that you weren't in control of it, and then
yeah.
and it was like, okay, well, how do we go about?
Yeah, so what do we do now, right?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, like, for the first mediation, all it came down to was like, okay, you understand, so what do you want to do now? You know, and it was over. And for the second one, it was to the point where it's like, all right, so you don't understand how you feel, but we know the issue isn't with you, we know the issue isn't with you. So we had to get through that. That, like, how do you feel? Do you understand how you feel? And now we're done. And then it was funny because we got to that point so early on that we were just sitting here like,
moving back around.
so what do we do? And you're
Yeah.
like, so
There's-
why is it like this or why is it like that?
There was like other things like, you know, you paid a lot of money for your peace and quiet. It's like, it doesn't matter because he's not in charge. So
Yeah.
I would say to him, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait, you.
his main
You want
focal
to
point
keep- Oh,
was
yeah,
his
yeah,
money
yeah.
anyway. Like, I can see how that's hard to.
As a mediator, or as, oh no, that's for another question. Go on.
In your observation, did each mediator seem to understand the nuisances of the parties' respective feelings, needs, emotions, and points of view?
Yes, I felt like Bernard when he was being Tom Brady, right? It's Tom Brady. Anyways, I felt like when you're being Tom Brady, I was just connecting with you right away. I was like, he only wants the daycare for the money. He don't care about the kid, he just wants the money. But I couldn't say that, that'd be really bad. So I was like, oh, you gotta understand. But yeah, at least I felt that way.
And when you guys were mediators, it was like, okay. Like, as soon as I dropped, like, the information about it not being my property, it was like, okay, we understand that. We understand how it, like, might be a problem for you, like, and then it kind of, like...
Yeah, from that point on, it just came to a point where it's like, how do we help you understand that this is gonna bite you in the ass?
And I mean, and you guys started, throwing up, like, you understood the financial aspect of it, like, the church doesn't have money, so how do we go about renovating, and that was a big part of our mediation. I always feel like I call emergency services with my phone. Anything else?
Is that it?
No. Well, for the question.
Oh, which question was it?
Eight. So, like, do we seem to understand, like, your guys' problems, emotions, points of views?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I would have like called it out if you guys weren't like understanding me. I think you guys kind of understood me more than he did, kind of. Cause you were like.
Oh yeah.
Cause you were like, so are you gonna give that information to her?
Yeah, he was all holding out, like
I don't want to give you it. No, you need to go and do your
Listen,
thing.
I was like, are you serious? If you don't just write it down on a piece of paper and slide it
Had
out.
it all
It ain't
done.
that hard.
I was like, yeah.
Okay, but no, I had a hard time understanding, like, how this whole lease and, like, if it was actually in the same building as the church, or was it in, like, a building next to the church, like,
So
a
it was
bunch of, like, almost like a community of buildings,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a business complex.
It's like the
the
church is
at the
really
base
big.
of Root Road leased classroom space to a daycare center.
So
It doesn't tell me.
so if
where it
if you were to read what it says online,
Just
basically it's
Where's the dirt track at?
basically the church is really
Where's
big,
your house?
and we have extra rooms which are classroom size,
So it's in the church.
So it's not in
Or it's
I think of it as like a row of like.
There's
Yeah.
probably like a big church building, and then there's like separate little classroom buildings
Yeah,
around the church building.
Oh, like one of those like what are those called? Those like cheap ass like.
Oh, like the trailer.
Yeah, yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
it's
Right,
I
That's what
find
they
that
have.
very disrespectful.
Kids like playing underneath it.
Goes up the H classrooms.
Yeah.
Alright, number 9. What specific tools, character traits, or qualities did each mediator convey that worked well, and why?
During the first mediation, we used a lot of questions. I think during the second mediation, questions really proved to be powerful because
Yeah.
you had to milk us for information. Yeah.
Yeah, and plus I didn't want to give.
We had to milk
everything
you
out.
too for information. You
I
didn't know
kind
shit.
of spilled everything. I kind of honestly gave like the rundown of the entire thing
Yeah.
during the opening.
Yeah.
I was just
But
like,
you guys never asked me like, so what's the rest of your story? Like I kind of interrupted him, and then you guys weren't like, okay, so what
Yeah, I
are
feel
all
like
the
I have a
issues?
problem with like really understanding both sides stories. Like one will start talking, and then it's like, all right, like just listen to this way. And then I just like I forget, just like a rebuttal comes in, and then it just goes right into that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
See,
then I
that's
forget
how I was
to-
like, they better like stop me from like
Yeah.
interrupting him, but you guys didn't. And I was just like, oh, they didn't ask me. Like,
I mean, part of that was because like I was like I tried to like at the beginning I was like, all right, well we're gonna have this process, but then I remembered he said like if phase 1 and phase 2 kind of like merge organically and there's kind of like a point where they start talking to each other, just let it happen. So I was like,
Because it wasn't too bad.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that-
You know what I mean? So I was like, it seems natural. So it's
Yeah.
fine.
I know that there was a good amount of refraining, reframing going on. That kind of helped, especially like
He used a lot of iMessages.
I
He
did?
Mm-hmm. Like.
I did?
You were like, okay, so, you know, if you, and then that, like, you were like, how explaining.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
I tried to use some validation, some empathy.
You did, and then she shot you down, or was it? One of us shot you down, and you're like, well, I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
Oh yeah, I was like, I'm sorry,
Never mind it, but let me tackle it.
It was definitely you.
It was me.
Yeah.
you guys all need Jesus.
What specific tools, character traits, or qualities did each mediator convey that needs attention or changing? And why?
Mm.
I feel like one thing that like
I don't know for that one. Okay, go ahead.
I feel like the I understand message, like it's kind of like an I empathy message, like
Yeah.
okay, I understand how you're feeling, like I feel like those are kind of hard to put in sometimes, like I feel like you guys don't like I feel like I don't even know if I do it that much, like, but it's like I feel like it's still like that stalemate where it's like do I try to say how you're feeling, how you bite back and be like floored to the wall, like being wrong, or you know, how do I go about that? Because I feel like, and part of that I feel is like it's sometimes hard to like put yourself in a situation like.
Well, one way to do it is to, instead of saying, you know, I know you feel like this, you can address the other party, saying, you know, like, well, I know that, you know, the Miss So and So feels like this, and then
Right, but
hopefully they're not gonna be like, what the fuck?
right, but then it comes down to like making sure you have it right before
Yeah,
you can
before you
try to
start.
kind of convey it. So it's like a translational error.
I think what he would say to that is you know, trial and error sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, just-
I feel like
you
I
gotta
have,
try it.
I have a little trouble like with the listening. Like when they're like telling their story, like I'll like pick out one thing that they say and I'm just like, oh yeah, I got something for that. And then it's just
Yeah.
like kind of like everything else that they say, I'm just
And then you're like,
I'm like, nah.
I mean that's
why-
that's part of it though. Like, and you have to just be able to filter out like the most important things, like the things that seem to like get them most on edge. And of course, like we're missing the part where we convene and see like their reactions and stuff and how what seems to agitate them the most and stuff. So
Yeah.
that kind of plays a part in it, but
And
Like-
writing down like what they say helps.
yeah. Because I mean, like,
Helps a lot.
okay.
Cause I forget like.
Yeah, it
I'm
helped
like,
me
oh.
too.
Yeah, it was-
Like, you asked a bunch of the questions I was going to ask, but then even after you finished asking the questions, I still had like a lineup of questions because I was like, you don't know nothing. And I'm like, I'm milky right now. Yeah.
And anything else, team?
Nah, that was good.
Nope. Get.
We out this bitch.
Okay.
Mr. Crew.
We out this shit.